I'm Mike.
And I'm Jason.
Oh, it's been
You're
a
so
while.
bad at this.
It's been a while.
We could just do that.
After a long-awaited return, we're back.
We are back.
When we left the. We didn't leave the United States, but we left.
No, we didn't.
We've
We've been here.
We've been homebodies pretty much. We've stopped doing shows for a little bit, and we decided to check in on how good old America's doing. So
Trump was freshly elected, right? When we last
May, so a couple months.
Yeah, so he hadn't been doing it very long, but that's kind of where we left off. It feels like somewhere in there.
An eternity now.
This 1 year has felt like 4 years.
So let's check in to see how good old America's doing. Let's take a look.
All right.
Clients at your staff is speaking Spanish to customers when they should be speaking English.
Very violent. I mean, sometimes they do.
Every person I listen to, he spoke it, she's speaking it, is America.
He's very ignorant.
It's fucked up.
He's very ignorant. And he shouldn't be allowed.
Because I will be following up. And my guess is they're not documented. So my next call is to ICE to have each one of them kicked out of my country. If they have the balls to come here and live off of my money, I pay for their welfare, I pay for their ability to be here. The least they can do is speak
Now
English.
welfare?
You
You're such an
understand? If
ignorant
you intend
asshole.
on running a place in Midtown Manhattan, your staff should be speaking English, not Spanish.
Because of people like you, our nation
Honey, I'm calling ICE.
Call ICE. So that they can see.
Maybe you shouldn't eat that sandwich today. Take a break from the food.
Yeah. So racism got a little more public, it seems. I know that racism has always been a thing. It will likely always be a thing, sadly.
Yeah.
But it seems like between the alt-right Tiki March and like all of the crazy things that have happened, I don't know if that's been in the last year, but in the last year and a half-ish, it seems like it's becoming more people are thinking it's becoming more acceptable to be racist.
How many videos are on YouTube where it's like customers racist rant or guy attacks
someone yelling at a person in line?
Yeah.
So this guy, Aaron, what is it? Schlossberg? SCHLOSSBERG.
Nailing pronunciations today.
Schlossberg, probably. Schlossberg. Is the guy in the video.
Yes.
And he is a lawyer.
Yep. He owns his own firm
in New York City.
Yep.
And I don't think it's like a big firm, has commercials, like billboards kind of firm. So I think it was a smaller end firm, but it was his firm.
Yes. And he owned it.
Right. So he comes up to these people in a restaurant. And part of the story is that the owner of the restaurant did end up making him leave. Okay. So that's part of it. Like he went on this rant, and the guy who owns the restaurant, or the person, I don't remember if it was a guy or not, but the restaurant owner was like, "You can't do that in here. You need to leave." Mm-hmm. Where he left without his food. That he
he's like, "You can't have my Spanish.
Yeah.
Or my sandwich."
Yeah. So you can have my Spanish. So that happened, and the it went viral really quickly. Mm-hmm. So as most of these things do, when someone films someone being a complete jackass.
Yeah.
It kind of just like took off. It seems like this is the new normal. It's not that's not a good thing, and I don't know if it will always be. But for right now, it seems like
What's not normal? Racism or videotaping it?
I think that probably both, but the videotaping it is probably what makes it feel like it's happening all the time.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen before phone cameras and whatever else. You know, like everything else that happens, you notice it more because it's constantly being filmed.
And I'm not protecting or fighting on behalf of this guy, but it seems like now with videos, as you shouldn't. It seems like now with videos is that, and I know Black Mirror did an episode of this, and then if anyone watches Orville, they did an episode of this. But if you get caught doing something that publicly isn't approved, even things that most of the public doesn't really care about, something small, and you get videotaped, it seems like it gets blasted on the internet, and everybody votes. They have like a say.
It's the court of public opinion, right?
And because of this, justifiably, this guy gets kicked out of his office space.
He had like a loft office space or something that was like part of the collective of people who have businesses in New York City, which is pretty common.
Yep.
Because there's so little space in real estate in New York City. But he got evicted basically because his views and what he was doing doesn't line up with what that holding company or firm or realtor or whatever it is that owns the building thought was appropriate.
And now they're trying to get him disbarred.
Yeah. So I saw this morning that there's a change.org petition going around for disbarring him because he's exhibiting conduct that's not appropriate of a lawyer or a person in his specific job. Correct. Which, not that it's appropriate of anyone. I didn't mean to kind of say it like that. Right. But most specifically of someone who is defending all sorts of different people, it doesn't seem like that lines up.
Yeah.
So whether that'll happen, who knows? Those things, sometimes they are just like the other viral things and they catch fire and it's just like 3 billion people and it can't be ignored. And sometimes they just kind of flame out.
Or you're lucky enough to where it lines up with something a little bit bigger and you...
Yeah, and you get yourself in there.
Yeah. But and a lot of people will complain that, it's free speech. He's allowed to say this.
Yeah.
And people just fail to understand that free speech doesn't protect you from the consequences of doing that, right? It only protects you from the government coming in and arresting you for saying that.
Right. It doesn't stop people from hating you. It doesn't stop people from ruining your life.
You're a face of a company, and if you say something the company doesn't agree with it, they have every right to get rid of you.
Yeah, and they will.
And they will. We've seen it before, right? Yeah. So, it's kind of a scary thought that you might do something innocent that someone films now, right? And I'm not saying this is innocent, but whenever something happens, you always have to think that, how does this grow out of control? How does it? Yeah,
it's more right? something that, not so much that it's innocent, but something that isn't as big of doesn't seem like a big deal to you.
Correct.
Or that you do normally, that someone else sees and says that's terrible. An example of that would be wearing a sombrero on Cinco de Mayo, right? Lots of people do that. Lots of people don't think that's racist. No. But lots of people also do think that's racist. So if someone catches you doing that, all of a sudden someone makes you the poster boy or poster girl for this is racist, you need to stop. And all of a sudden it's, even though 10,000 people did that on Cinco de Mayo, you're the one that got called out for it.
Correct.
You're the face of that now and it's your problem.
Yeah, and so I think there was
that makes a little more sense.
I think there was a girl who wore a prom dress that was fashioned in Asian culture.
Yeah, she got crucified.
Crucified for that.
Yep. But that's like people dressing up as sexy Native Americans and geishas and stuff. Yeah. That, like, it's appropriating culture.
It's a long.
There's a lot of things.
It can be scary to think like she had because I think she was a designer of some kind and she was going to school.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
And so that's why she did it, and now she is the face of why you shouldn't do this.
Don't ever do this again.
Yeah. So it can be scary when you think about it.
But
late note.
But on a lighter note, the internet in its
infinite
glory had a response to this. Someone started a GoFundMe. I'm gonna find the guy's name real quick. And put it up in regards to this. The campaign was called Mariachis for Aaron. Aaron Schlossberg was the lawyer's name. The initial goal was $500, and what Mark Goldberg is the one that it shows as the person who started the GoFundMe. What the goal was to, let me see what the original one was. It was to get a mariachi band to follow this guy around all day. And that was it. That's all it was. It was $500 so they could hire a mariachi band to follow him around. It snowballed, but they caught it pretty early. Yeah. So it got to like $1,094 before they're like, all right, well, this is too much. Like, we don't need this much money.
Costs $100.
We're all good. Right. So they were like, we're good. Like, you don't need to do anything. And they've been updating it. So they initially got a mariachi band. I believe the mariachi band decided to play for free.
Yeah.
So then they were like, all right, since that, we'll get taco trucks and, make this as authentic as we can and include as many people as we can. And then I think that they also decided to do it for free. So I'm not sure where the money ended up going. Well, they may have donated it in hopes that that's what happened. And so basically there's video, and we'll post a little snippet, not a long snippet, of that from them sitting outside of his apartment. No, this was outside of the space, I think, not his apartment. So I think this was outside of his office space before he got evicted. So that happened. It already happened. You can't donate to it anymore, but they weren't accepting donations. Yeah. Like 2 days ago, they stopped. They got like halfway through a day, and they're like, all right, this is too much. Everybody stop giving us money. Which is good, because in GoFundMe, you don't have to, like, as long as you can prove that you're not like using that money inappropriately, you don't have to give it back. You don't have to do anything.
Yeah, I really hope they donated it then.
So I hope so too. But the thing that they put once they stopped doing donations, and if you were hearing this and saying, oh man, I wish I would have donated to that, they suggested donating to the Immigrant Defense Project, which is, I'll put the website here if you were interested in doing that. Okay. But that's kind of the sentiment that they wanted. So I assume that they did.
They did donate
anything that they didn't use or used it for permits, or I don't know. They may have needed permits. Yeah. It's New York City. I don't know.
Yeah. I love the internet. It's amazing how fast they react to things. The downside of this, to kill the high note we had there, they move on faster too. So
so this story won't be a story in 2 days. It made its news cycle. Yeah. It did all of the stuff that it had intended to do, and now it's just going to go away. That guy, the only thing that'll be left is this petition, and if the petition doesn't catch a head of steam, it'll just disappear, and racists can be racists again. Yeah. And I guess that's the problem, is that the internet is great for sparking this kind of thing, but it doesn't create any sort of permanence to a solution.
This is a long conversation, but same as the gun debate. I mean, the longest I've seen that a discussion about guns go was the Parkland kids, right? They got that going, but then after the meeting with Trump and all that stuff, it then died down again.
Yeah, and they did a pretty good job. They did make it hold some wind for a long time. But
the United States.
But then what happens? What happens yesterday? 2 days ago? Yeah. Another school shooting. Mm-hmm. It's not like, as great as that is to spark a dialogue, it didn't keep that from happening again. Not that that's their fault, but.
So, well,
that's it.
Thanks for tuning back in. We appreciate you. We're sorry we were gone for so long.
We do. We're very sorry. We're going back to video format because it's more fun,
It is more fun.
I think, and it's shorter. I feel like
No,
some people have time for podcasts, some people don't. This is just an easy thing that you can just sit down for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
Hopefully get some enjoyment out of.
Look at our beautiful
or at least
faces.
be able to mock us, whatever you do.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
To correct us when we're wrong, all that stuff.
Yep. But that's it for today, and we'll see you next week.
See you guys.